It is illegal to sell performance-enhancing drugs, but it is not but it's illegal to prescribe performance-enhancing drugs to sell them. Stay tuned. Of Clear Hair, you came back. I see you. Anyway, so this is episode 2 as we talk about the Mr. McMahon documentary series, and we will be discussing episode 2, which is the heat. Like I said previously in the last video, a lot of this is alleged. There is nothing here that I am saying that anybody did, but I'm just merely reinstating what already took place verbally and writtenly. So we will go right into the review. All right, so first things first, the grind. I knew in a way that they had these wrestlers, like I knew they were on the road. Let's keep it a buck. I always knew they were on the road, but I think as a kid, I don't think I was able to really notice how much they were on the road. So several different wrestlers tried to start a union because they had these guys on the road for 7 days. And you know, when you're first starting a company, there's a bit of a time where you're just grunt working. It's just grunt work, okay? It's literally grunt work. You know, it's nothing personal, but it's just grunt work. But there is no work-life balance when you're first starting. And even with the startup company, there's a lot of grunt work involved because there's no basis. Like you got companies like JP Chase, Citi, like these companies have been here for decades, eons almost, compared to WWE was just a brand new system. So them working 7 days a week was understandable, but human-wise, no. Okay, so they tried to start a union in an attempt to get more rights and basically just see their families. They only saw their kids 3 times a year, or they only saw their wife once a year on the 3rd moon of the week. You know, like they really weren't seeing their families. You know, just overall morale was low, so they tried to start a union. However, Hulk Hogan, who was like basically he was having such a good year, basically he ended up ratting them out to Vince and saying, hey, they're trying to start a union, and it got shut down. And so Vince pretty much had a meeting where he's like, if you're not at this meeting where I confront you at, you're not going to be here. And I'm just like, this man loves confrontation. And he says, he confirms it on later on, but basically, so after that, WrestleMania 3 happens, and then it was Hulk versus Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was, you know, like it took a while for them to convince him. You know, he had a back surgery he had to get, so Hulk ended up winning that, and then he ended up rising up from there because he ended up winning it. So let's introduce ageism. So a lot of these sports, like, let's talk about the human body real quick, okay? Now this, I do not have a degree in anatomy, nor am I a doctor, but I can tell you what the human body from my perspective is. It's not meant for wear and tear long term. That's the reason why the average age for an NFL player is about 28, or the average age for a basketball player is about 32. Like, your body will tire, okay? So basically, Hulk Hogan started noticing that, you know, people who were like fans of his were like, hey, like he is getting older. And I'm just like, that's not right. Like I thought you guys were my fans, now you call me old, you know? But in the entertainment business, it's all about youth, okay? And so youth and power. So basically, he wanted to retire. You know, he always wanted to do movies, which beforehand they shut down. They're like, we need you to do the grunt work. We built you up to be this Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania. And so basically, they needed a new face, and like he ended up losing his title to a new character. And basically this was perfect time because WWE started getting scandal or heat placed on them at this time because there was just so much going on, and he was like, you know, I'm just gonna retire. I'm just gonna retire from wrestling. I'm just gonna go into show business like I always wanted. This is a perfect time. So Hulk Hogan ended up leaving the business, and you know, of course, you know, Vince was there to basically see him off. You know, like Vince McMahon pretty much invested a lot emotionally and financially into Hulk Hogan, so it made a lot of sense. But you can just sense, like, just from the interview, like I could sense like this was not for camera. This is pretty much like, hey, like we made it out the gutter together. You trusted me, I trusted you to make me a star. I trusted and you trusted me to make you a star, you know, so I really felt that connection there. All right, so we're gonna go into performance enhancing drugs. I don't know if I can say steroids or not, so I'm gonna say performance enhancing drugs. So we're going PED. Okay, so like I said before, it is not illegal to sell PED, but it is illegal to prescribe PED and to sell them. The reason I'm laughing, no, it's very serious, but like the reason I'm laughing is because I have an unpopular opinion about this. I know y'all gonna get me for this. I want y'all to grow up a little bit. Okay, I want y'all to grow up a little bit. There's no way the human body can uphold that level of muscle mass without help. I'm sorry. Now, I know the three of you in the back are going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I eat this, I eat that. I was like, I know, but you're talking about people who have information from 2024. Back in the day, and you didn't know how to if you couldn't build muscle, you know, find a vein pretty much. Not to be crass, but pretty much find a vein, because like, there wasn't like now we have like all these different proteins that perfectly target and different workout techniques that perfectly target and can help you build muscle, lose weight, build the muscle back up, gain weight, to lose the weight, to build the muscle back up. Like, I understand that, but as someone who, I'm not the most muscular person out there, but as someone who's in her early 30s, and I can tell you my muscle mass is decreasing, because I will miss 1 week of workout and I turn into shrimp noodle. I turn into a spaghetti. I do. Like, it's like my body is eating its own muscle. I don't know how to describe it, but like, I'm just not maintaining it. It's not just me in general. Like, that's why you'll notice that this is usually around the age that a lot of people start getting assistance from the doctors, is like mid 30s, early 40s, because your body literally is not anything over the age of 25. I'm telling you, anything over the age of 25, like your body is just done. Your body's done. Like, and Hulk Hogan was well into his allegedly, whatever allegedly took place. But me personally, I'm not a kid anymore. I can tell you off rip, certain of y'all faves, they're definitely doing it. All right. Okay, they are. All right, they are, because there's no way you're going to tell me someone who's in their late 40s, early 50s, who's not of a particular certain melanated demographic can build muscle easier. Okay, like there's been plenty of people who have come up to me on my comments in real life and be like, how do you keep your abs? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you an answer you want to hear. Okay. There are certain, like, there is, like, I can say with the melanated crew, like, it's much easier for us to build muscle mass. Before you argue with me, argue with yourself. But it is much easier, because I know people who do heavy ab work, this and the other. I do 12 push-ups and I have back muscles now. It is what it is. So you're trying to tell me someone who is not as melanated, they're not going to be able to maintain this mass. Like, it's down to the DNA, okay? If you want, and that's on deoxyribonucleic acid, okay? Like, at the end of the day, there's not going to be a way for you to maintain that muscle without a bit of assistance, okay? So with these news articles coming out left and right saying, hey, it's not fair, I just want y'all to also know time frame rise, because a lot of the episode I was like, ooh, that wouldn't pass now, but they did what they could with at the time, because like even down to hair products, like our hair techniques, us millennials and Gen Zenians, our hair techniques is wiping everybody out the water. Because we have more products now. There's more products that we have access to. There's more techniques. Everybody's specific hair type is on the internet. You have 4C divided by 3 to carry the 1, that hairstyle techniques on the internet. You are vegan or you're gluten-free and you don't know what food or protein to eat to get you abs, it's on the internet. Back in the day, they did what they could with what they had, which wasn't a lot. Okay. I just feel like they were really pressed about that. And just really quick, there was also an aspect of that I feel like that took the forefront more, because there was a lot of, you know, women and, you know, certain unnecessary advances that were not consensus that took place. And I felt like that overshadowed it because people were so pressed about whether or not, so you need to be pressed about the fact that women were not safe around WWF, okay? So I'm going to go into my overall review. So this episode, there was a lot of Guess Who, by the way. Like, Aretha Franklin was there, Macaulay Culkin. I also saw Muhammad Ali. There was a lot of, like, I was like, was that Macaulay? But overall, I feel like this episode, I like this one better than the first episode. I feel like they got more into depth. I felt like they were starting to loosen up a little bit because I'm telling you, there's so much that you can uncover about what took place. But I'm taking this as a autobiography about WWE beginnings, okay? I'm not thinking it's about Vince anymore, because it's not. Because I feel like, yes, it's about him, but I feel like we're not getting the answers we want, because when they started pressing for the answers we want, he definitely moved it along. But I have that on here. I have on here too of note was about Hulk Hogan basically going to WCW, because while he was acting, it wasn't good. It wasn't, he was over the top. You could just tell he just did not have the acting bug. That's what they said, which I'm just like, wrestling is acting low key, but okay. But he wasn't proving successful. So I felt like there was a lot of that pushed him to go to WCW. WCW was basically Ted Turner, I think that's what his name was, but basically he came in and said, hey, I'm starting WCW World Champion Wrestling, and I want you on my show. And instead of working like a dog for 365 days a week, you're only on contract to work for 10, and I'll give you $1 million. Man, I'm coming to wrestle. Coming in the clarinator, like, I'm coming to wrestle. What you mean? You gonna pay me $1 million to only appear for 10 times? Let's stop playing. And I'll work through Thanksgiving. Just mail me the yams. Like, let's keep it a buck, okay? Let's keep it a buck. But I think that was a really good aspect of the fact that you can sit there and build somebody up, like Vince said, which I feel like that was him revealing a layer of himself, is that even Vince said that he felt some type of way, like he was heartbroken that after building him up to be his champion, he went to the next company. But like I said, like, this is business. You literally sat there and went to each of the fire. You went to the fire, the water, and the earth nation and took their best warriors and put them into your nation, and you're mad about this. I was like, it's money, baby. Like, you should be surprised, because like during the time, like, he was like, basically during the time he had so many scandals, but the main scandal was the performance enhancing drugs that he was getting alleged that he was doing and sending to people. You know, like, there was just a lot there that I feel like it overshadowed, it eclipsed the can I say that word, harassment? It eclipsed the women's the scandal with the SAD cases for the women. Like, it pretty much eclipsed that. Like, the fact of the matter that I liked about the documentary for this part was the fact that it really shows that no one cares that a woman is uncomfortable. They're mad about the fact that you beat me and you cheated. You're worried about somebody taking a shot, but you don't care that this person literally will never have the same life again. Like, the thing about it is just like, emotionally, like, if someone hits you on your arm, or let's say you cut your finger on something, you can heal from that. It just becomes a scar. You go about your business. But the thing about it is just that psychologically, you're never the same again. Like, it just eclipsed it. And a lot of people, I saw a lot of the comments too, were like, oh my God, like, how come they push past this in the documentary? I was like, you also got to understand that in order to have compliance to do this series, if I'm psychoanalyzing him correctly within my means, I feel like Vince was like, we can talk about how great I am, but we're not going to go into that. Okay? Now, if you ask me questions, I'll answer them to the best of my attorney's ability. but I'm not going to answer the questions. You see what I'm talking about? So I feel like they did the best with what they could. So y'all need to back off. All right. Because a lot of people are just like, ask them this question. I was like, why do y'all think that? Grow up. Okay. Like y'all don't understand. Like, when it comes to having that level of money, you need to understand that certain rules that are in place do not exist. Okay. So I know people were trying to see this series as, like I said, he deserves to be under the jail. But I know people see this series as a way of like, oh my God, like I really want him to answer these questions. I was like, you're not going to get those questions answered. Okay. So I feel like also too, like just analyzing it from a financial standpoint, I feel like the WWF should have been worth almost $100 billion. Like, we tuned in. We had no cable and we tuned in. Don't ask us how we got it, but we tuned in. Okay. Like, we made sure we did not skip it. Like, we almost skipped church one time. I was like, God, you got to forgive us. We have to watch wrestling tonight. You know, like, you got to forgive us on that one. But, it was a phenomenon, you know, like literally there at one point, I didn't even care about school. I wanted to know, was Trish Stratus going to be the Divas champion? Like, I literally, I didn't even care about it. Like, it was like a Dragon Ball Z next time on Road Wrestling. Like, and then SmackDown got, which I'm going to be excited for them to introduce in the next episode. But I can definitely say, like, it was a really good, this episode was much more organized, stayed a little bit more on topic, because like I said, like, I feel like my advice to y'all at home who's watching it, just see it for what it is. It is basically a WWE documentary, series, and just see it for that. Just see it for that, and then just move on. Like, I feel like if you guys are trying to ask those questions, you're going to have to go into the Reddit comments, because that's when people are going to really have the tea. But I'm seeing it as for that. So don't forget to subscribe, share. It's Claire Haire. And don't forget to share my content.